Greetings, everyone. This is the Sail of the Terror of Death 99, aka the Black Cobra. And I'm back for some more of my live stream of Phoenix Wright the Trilogy. The final game, Trials and Tribulations. Now, when we last left off, we had actually found out that the suspected thief, known as Mask to Mask, aka Ronald Delight, had actually received a blackmail letter, and suspecting he's also the CEO of a big company. Question is, actually there's a few questions. One, who is the real thief if it's not Mr. Delight? And two, who actually sent the letter? Now, we actually have the prosecutor for the third game. This is Godot. Yes. Very well. And I apologize for the noise. I cannot do anything about that, so I just have to deal with it. Very well. Let's begin. Mask to Mask's crimes. Mask to Mask is a master thief that first started his crime spree 6 months ago. He's so confident that he sends his calling card before he even commits the crime. This was his fifth heist, and as usual, he sent a card on to Lordly Taylor. His pattern is to always go after only the most precious art pieces. Now, before I continue, what was actually stolen was the antique art. Well, a somewhat antique piece of art. It was the antique urn from Maya and Mia's hometown. Question is, why would someone actually want that? That's what we're hopefully gonna find out tonight. See. So the actual identity of this Mask to Mask is blacker than a moonless night, hotter and more bitter than hell itself. This is coffee. Very well. Indeed. So long as they haven't brought up Mr. Delight's identity. All we could do is show that it wasn't Master Mask who stole the urn. Two things before I start the cross-examination. First thing, who exactly is Mask the Mask? Is it actually Ronald Delight, or is it somebody else? And two, was Ronald Delight actually at his office? Because we actually found out that we actually found a security card belonging to Ronald Delight inside his wallet. And where was this wallet found? Inside the office building, which was found around 1 a.m. So either he was actually inside the building or somebody stole his wallet. Now, let's continue. Have you been involved in the investigation from the beginning? Author on thieves. Authority. Indeed. Interesting. Let's see what we have here. So nobody knows more about the thief than you, huh? Isn't there someone who knows even more about him than the police? Indeed. That is indeed a German name. His name is Look at me, sir. I guess I shouldn't have made up such a silly name for him. Anyway, it's true that he did manage to retrieve the last item the thief stole. Have you seen all of these so-called calling cards? Person in charge of the treasure exhibit never brought their card to the police. Interesting. That's because Detective Atme stopped Miss Andrews from taking it to the police. Something seems suspicious about him. Was the coin card that Rotary Taylor received authentic? Ah, yes. That would actually be the symbol on the front. That mask. Which, honest to God, to me, looks almost like a yin-yang type of symbol. Not releasing the information to the general public. You're absolutely certain that this card is real? Gumshoe can't say it out loud, but I bet he's talking about Master Mask's emblem. His fifth heist, and your fifth screw up, huh? Interesting. Well, the detective did mention last night that pretty much nobody knew about the calling card. Except for him. I'm thinking he might be the real Mask to Mask. Strange. His pattern is to always go after only the most precious art pieces. Art pieces? Like what, for example? Well, his first target was the famous Tear of Emanon. Well, honestly, when it comes to famous art pieces, I would say something like paintings or famous sculptures or possibly even books. I know quite a few books can actually be very, very valuable. In fact, something interesting actually happened earlier this week. If anyone is familiar with the Pokemon trading card game, a rare Pokemon card actually sold for almost $200,000 earlier this week. I'm not sure where it was actually sold, but it sold for $196,000. Ah, a blue diamond. Ah, yes, gemstones. Yep. Gemstones, sculptures, paintings, etc., etc. Crown of Bangara. Left hand of Hades. Portrait of Megina. Detective Atme retrieved the portrait of Megina and returned it to the museum. The target of his fifth and last robbery was a sacred urn, correct? I would assume it would be. There's actually one real-life gemstone that a lot of people actually say is cursed. It's actually known as the Hope Diamond. I don't know the entire story about it, but a lot of people actually say that anyone who actually comes in contact with it, whether it be touching it or tries to steal it, actually dies within 5 years. Though I don't know if that's true or not. I myself have seen what it looks like, but I've never come close to it myself. Anyway. We assume he must have some underworld connections. I agree, Maya. I don't think he is the type. Detective Atme, though, does. Fits his MO to a T. First of all, there's the calling card. We're 100% certain it's authentic. Then there's the fact they seem to know all about the security system. Wait a minute. Seem to know all about the security system. Now, for anyone who didn't catch my live stream last night, Adrian Andrews, who was actually running the treasure exhibit at the museum, actually hired Detective Atme as a security guard. The exact night of the crime. And finally, his target was an art piece. These are all part of the thief's modus operandi. Or MO. A lot of people don't know what that stands for, but I do. So, since this robbery seems to fit all those connections, all those conditions, it means that Master Mask is behind it. True, Maya. Question is, who is the real Master Mask? I think we might have to unmask the mask. Exactly. There's no real evidence either way as to whether Ron Delight is Master Mask. Also, the urn hasn't turned up yet, let alone in connection to Mr. Delight himself. Somebody is definitely framing him. The question is, who? Maybe for the time being, I should try to show it wasn't Master Mask that did it. Interesting. I'm not buying this. Objection, Your Honor. Can I ask you something, Detective? You said that he always goes after the most precious art pieces, right? But there's one problem. That's not what he did in this case. The supposedly priceless urn didn't exactly rise to the level of precious art. No, I mean from a financial point of view. I mean, it wouldn't fetch a good price. I think I know what he's referring to. Basically, what happened, for anyone who missed my live stream of the second game, Pearl, who is the little cousin of Maya, actually smashed the urn to pieces and actually tried to glue it back together. If it was still in mint condition, then it possibly could actually have a financial value, but since it was actually smashed into pieces, that would immediately remove all of its financial value. Of course, I'm not exactly a businessman myself, but I've studied. The appraisers I spoke to said they couldn't attach a price to it. And I mean that in the worst sense. So in other words, it was not the kind of item that Master Mask would normally go after. Exactly. The theft of the secret item was not the work of Master Mask. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. The argument made itself, but... Was the last robbery the work of Master Mask or not? What do you have to say about this, Mr. Godot? Godot number 107. Insult all you want, Godot. Exactly. An imitator. Someone imitating Master Mask's methods. Here's what the main question is, though. Who would actually know about Master Mask's methods? Try figuring that one out. It does sound ridiculous, but it is possible it was a fake. Question is, why would they actually want to steal that smashed up urn? Proof that the person who appeared at Rotary Taylor that night was actually a fake. Though I don't approve of Mr. Godot's behavior, I believe his point is valid. Very well. Looks like I'm gonna have to prove it. Interesting. Ah, yes. Here we go. Proof is right here. So it looks like a photo thing. Indeed. But if you look closely, you'll notice something peculiar about it. Interesting. Wait a second. I gotta take a look at something real fast. Bingo! Right there on his chest. That symbol. Gladly, Godot. It's right here. It's right here, of course. I have here a piece of reference I'd like the court to take a look at. Yes, Maya. The problem I have with the security camera photo is the brooch on Damask's chest. No. A brooch. It's a sort of clasp for holding one's cape on. Bingo! He's not wearing one. That brooch is the same as the emblem on Damask's calling card and serves as the symbol. But the thief that broke into Lord Louis Taylor wasn't wearing a brooch. In other words, the Master Mask is a fake. Interesting. Why? That's Master Mask's brooch. Where did he find that? It's hidden in the shadow of a big female Buddhist. Wait a minute. This statue right here. Statue of the founder of the Korean channeling technique. The Ami Faye statue. True, he is. But so am I. It is a little too early to be shaken up. Figuratively speaking, of course, I'm referring to Rhonda Light's fingerprints. Defendant's fingerprints are on the brooch? Mr. Godot, please want to see the brooch. Appears to have been torn off some clothing. Sounds like the fake Master Mask got into a fight. I think I know with who. It's a little bit of cloth left on the back. Obviously, there must have been exactly. I believe the proper term is Houston, we have a problem. Very well. All right. What the hell? Ah, it's this guy again. Detective Luke at me. Who does he think he is? The German Sherlock Holmes? Ace Detective? I think not. Why was this guy all by himself anyway? There must be some reason, I'm sure of it. Interesting. Enough with the invites. I don't like getting invites when I'm live streaming. Thank you very much. Let's see. It was approximately 1 o'clock in the morning just after the date changed. So my nemesis, the infamous Master Mask, dancingly descended upon me. Just as I began to turn, the coward struck a fierce blow upon my noble head. Darkness swallowed me before I could land a single strike. When I awoke, he was gone. 30 minutes later, I used an emergency phone to notify the police. I don't buy it. Very well. So that'll be 1 o'clock in the morning of the 12th, correct? You were on security duty that night. Where exactly were you at the time? Basement warehouse near the computer. You must have been checking the security data. That's my best guess. So then you weren't trying to remain hidden, I take it. Hey, you said the same thing yesterday, too. True. Gumshoe also said that they've never spotted the thief at the crime scenes before. Putting pressure on the thief. Interesting. Honest to God, I think it would make him more suspicious, though. There's a good chance they would actually find him suspicious and actually accuse him of being the thief. Looks like the thief was the one applying pressure on your pigeony head, that is. From where exactly? So in actuality, he neither danced nor descended. Okay. So how is it that you didn't notice the thief? Subtly camouflaged cape and soft-soled shoes. I hereby W Ace Dunce. You didn't see the criminal's face when that happened? True, that is not very solid. If he only saw his mask, then how could he actually tell that was Ronald Delight? Even with the security picture, that still does not show the criminal's face. No, I'm not buying it. I don't have a problem with the picture. What I have a problem with is his testimony. Acted knocked unconscious, and you weren't able to do a thing? That's certainly some very impressive detective work. Yes, I have. Hopefully it deflated his ego when he was knocked out. He may have brains, but the wiring to the self-reflection part seems to be severed. Anyway, I'll actually show you what actually knocked him out. Or supposedly knocked him out. It was actually this. This is actually a fake sword. About this 30 minutes. I think he was saying that he was out cold. That's an understatement there, Maya. There is indeed something suspicious about Detective Atme. That's the main question. That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How could he have not noticed when the thief came in? Also, he says he was knocked unconscious before he could fight back. That can't be right. It contradicts the evidence. The real question is, why would he tell such an obvious lie? Interesting. No, I'm not buying it. He claims he didn't land a single strike, but if that was true, how was he able to grab the brooch? Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Atme, do you take a look at this, that special monocle of yours? It was found on the floor of the basement warehouse. I wonder how that happened. He does think he's Sherlock Holmes. No, I'm not buying it. Not quite. It clearly shows signs of being ripped off a piece of clothing. We can only deduce that the thief struggled with someone that night. There's only one thing I can think of. There's only one person that was in a position to have a struggle with the thief. The only person that was on security duty that night! You, Detective Atme! Detective Atme, you must have fought with the thief that night. So why did you lie in your testimony to the court? Indeed, Your Honor. That is a little thing called perjury. We're gonna let that one slide. some detectives can actually handle multiple cases. Witness, so you're now saying that you and the thief fought? Alright, let's see what we have here. Look at me, cannot be so easily discombobulated. Thief grabbed a weapon from the side and rendered me senseless. True gentleman fights only with his own fists, but they were not enough. Now, a lot of people would actually call that boxing, but if you want to use British terms, it is actually known as Marquis of Queensberry rules. Anyone who has played Perfect Dark would know that. So in the end, you did catch a glimpse of Master Mask. One moment, everyone. I apologize, everyone. I've been a little under the weather the last couple of days. Why did you look away from the door anyway? Ah, yes. The burglar alarm, I assume. One of his supposed traps that he had actually mentioned last night. So you're momentarily vulnerable when you're working on the computer? Interesting. One moment, everyone. Alright. Well, we know for sure that Atme looked away from the door. I think I should ask about something else now. Alright, so you looked away from the door, then what? Basically what discombobulated means, it means confused. That's basically what it means. What do you mean by a weapon from the side? Saw from the statue that was standing by the door to the warehouse. Ah, yes. This statue. And the sword. This, of course, is actually a ceremonial sword, which means it's not real. It is quite heavy though, so actually hitting someone on the back of the head would most likely knock them out. I mean, the sword that was all twisted like a tree branch? Basically, it's a 7-branch sword. And yes, they are real. So it is talking about the ceremonial sword. You had that much faith in your own fighting abilities? Ah, I thought so. This guy is a real piece of work. Can you tell us a little bit more about what happened? Flash of light. Like a camera, perhaps? Or could have been sunlight. Maybe he opened the door. No, that wouldn't work because it was still nighttime. I'm thinking most likely a camera. Or something else that could actually generate a flash. What is this at-me fighting style? Wait a minute. Ah, yes! I learned a detective secret technique after all. That's not it, though. It's the way he actually fought. Or supposedly fought. Right there. He had his back to the wall. It would have been nearly impossible for him not to see the criminal. No. We're just gonna ignore that part. I do have a strange feeling about that. Well, there's one thing I'm absolutely sure of now. This look at me guy is definitely hiding something. I think I'm starting to figure out what really happened that night. And about the true nature of this detective, in quotes. Strange. This guy is definitely an interesting character. Wait a minute. Objection, Your Honor. Detective Atme. Your testimony is crumbling like a house of cards. I believe this is what you said yesterday. No, the coward must have wormed his way in through somewhere besides the door. Then my arch nemesis struck me on the head from behind with this gruesome item here. Bingo! That's an obvious lie. He claims he was hit from behind, and in his testimony he actually said he was hit in the forehead, which is in the front of the head, not behind. Now you just testified that you were struck on the forehead. I hardly think you could forget where you were hit on the head. Detective Atme, that is not the only strange part of your testimony. For example, the very fact that you hid the calling card from the police itself is strange. It's almost as if you were afraid that you were going to help with security. I should say, they were going to help. No. No, no, no. I am not buying. One moment, everyone.